This is BrightLine West, a high-speed rail line currently under construction aiming to connect Los Angeles and Las Vegas in around 2 hours. Compared to a drive on Interstate 15, which takes 4 to 5 hours on a good day and up to 6 hours in heavy traffic, it seems like an absolute game changer. But here's the catch. The LA terminus isn't actually in LA. It stops at Rancho Cucamonga, a town outside of LA City proper, 40 miles from downtown LA. From here, getting into LA means either about an hour's drive or about an hour and a half on a commuter train. On the Las Vegas end, the station also sits 8 to 9 miles outside downtown. It's closer, but it still adds time to the trip. On top of that, because it's a single track line with trains running only once an hour, the trip from downtown LA to Las Vegas can take well over 2 hours. BrightLine West is not the first to put high-speed rail stations outside of downtown. It can be seen in cities around the globe. While it is challenging, having the stations in the suburbs weakens the downtown-to-downtown advantage of high-speed rail usually has over flying, and it also reduces the time advantage compared to driving. But to understand why this matters, let's first look at the corridor it will serve. Las Vegas, a city famous for its entertainment and hospitality industry, attracting nearly 40 million tourists every year. A major source of these visitors comes from the greater Los Angeles area, home to about 13 million people. Each year, roughly 50 million trips are made between the two cities. Flights do exist. Most travelers still drive, putting enormous pressure on the Interstate 15. A typical drive takes about 4 hours, but on weekends, traffic can pile up for miles, sometimes stretching the trip to 6 hours. Buses stuck on the same highway can take 6 to 7 hours, and Las Vegas has lost Amtrak service, which had connected the city to Los Angeles since the late 1990s. That is where BrightLine West, a high-speed rail line between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, comes in. The idea of connecting Southern California and Las Vegas by high-speed rail dates back to 2005. Early plans focused on connecting the high desert region near Victorville to Las Vegas, aiming to provide an alternative to the heavily congested Interstate 15 corridor. By 2018, BrightLine, a private rail company already operating a semi-high-speed rail line on Florida's East Coast, took over the project. The line has received political support from both state and federal levels, with bonds from California and Nevada secured in 2020 and federal grants in late 2023. For most of the route, it will run along the median of Interstate 15, with stops at Victor Valley and Hesperia. Construction broke ground in Las Vegas in 2024. With heavy work expected to start in 2026, originally aimed to open in 2028 before the LA Olympics. The schedule has now been pushed to late 2029. Costs have also more than doubled, from $8 billion in 2020 to an estimated $21.5 billion today. With a top speed of 200 miles per hour, BrightLine West will cover the 218-mile route in about 2 hours and 10 minutes. In theory, this could take tens of thousands of cars off the congested roads, offering a fast and reliable alternative. Furthermore, as the United States has been slow to build high-speed rail, this project serves as an experiment in reshaping intercity travel. But as we look closer at the route and how it is designed, several challenges emerge that could limit its speed, convenience, and overall effectiveness. While it's advertised as a high-speed rail connecting Los Angeles and Las Vegas, as mentioned earlier, the line doesn't actually reach the downtowns. Instead, it terminates outside of them. Travel time is further affected by the line's configuration and frequency. BrightLine West will mostly be single-track, with passing sidings at certain locations. This means only one train can occupy a section at a time, and trains must wait at sidings to pass each other, which limits how often they can run. Originally, trains were planned to run every 45 minutes, but to better align with the Metrolinx and Bernardino line, the commuter rail that carries passengers from Rancho Cucamonga into downtown LA. Frequency has been reduced to roughly 1 train per hour. So while the high-speed rail portion itself takes just over 2 hours, the total journey can easily stretch beyond 3 hours. When you account for travel to and from downtown at both ends and the waiting times. The factors that keep BrightLine West from reaching the downtowns are fairly straightforward. High-speed rail needs dedicated straight right-of-ways to maintain speed and reliability, a type of corridor that's extremely difficult and expensive to secure in dense urban areas like Los Angeles. Placing the terminus outside the city isn't ideal, but it's a compromise to get things moving forward. It's also worth noting that as early as 2007, studies explored restoring rail service between Las Vegas and downtown Los Angeles, using existing freight and Metrolink corridors. These routes, however, are not suitable for high-speed rail, which requires straighter, dedicated tracks, making a downtown terminus for BrightLine West impractical. One of the biggest advantages of high-speed rail compared to flying is the ability to show up at a downtown station at any time and have a train ready to go soon. No traveling to the airport, no TSA, no boarding 30 minutes to an hour before takeoff. With the stations not in downtown and longer wait times for a train, these advantages are weakened. But don't take my word for it. Studies show that where a high-speed rail station is located makes a big difference. Stations far from a city's core tend to weaken the surrounding area's development, meaning less economic activity and fewer opportunities for the city to grow around the station. When stations are hard to reach, more travelers turn to planes instead, which makes the rail line less competitive. Research also shows a simple pattern. The farther the station is, the less often people use it. In short, stations built far from downtown not only make travel less convenient, but they can also lower ridership, reduce economic benefits, and limit the overall impact the rail line could have on intercity travel. We see this pattern around the world. In Japan and Europe, most high-speed rail stations are either right in the city center or at the edge of town with convenient local connections into downtown. In China, it's similar, though there are extreme cases where stations are built so far outside the city that getting downtown can take longer than the high-speed rail train ride itself. Interestingly, conventional train stations are usually built right in the city center. Back when they were built, cities were smaller, so it was easier to find space downtown for a station. And unlike high-speed trains, conventional trains don't need perfectly straight tracks, so the rail lines can bend and curve more easily through the city, giving planners more flexibility. Don't get me wrong, I still support BrightLine West and believe it's a meaningful project. The key is how we overcome the challenges that limit its advantages, which there are a few on the table. Currently, the High Desert Corridor, high-speed rail line between the Victor Valley Station on the BrightLine West and Palmdale Station on the California High-Speed Rail is being studied and planned. If it gets built, it could connect BrightLine West trains to the California High-Speed Rail, thus potentially bring it directly into LA's Union Station. However, the High Desert Corridor is still in an early phase. Even though state and local funding commitments have been made, it will take some time before construction actually begins. Not to mention the section of California high-speed rail between Palmdale and LA Union Station involves extensive tunneling, which is an engineering challenge and extremely costly. This section has cleared environmental review, but has yet to secure funding. Even though it could come sooner by electrifying Metrolink's Antelope Valley line, I still don't see these infrastructures ready for the initial operation of BrightLine West. Though I do believe High Desert Corridor plus California High-Speed Rail is the way to bring the line to downtown in the long term. For the foreseeable future, the best improvements BrightLine West can implement are operational, increased service frequency, especially during peak hours, and coordinate with Metrolink on the San Bernardino line between Rancho Cucamonga and El Union Station. Furthermore, the line will eventually need double tracking to increase capacity. Some sections have space for a second track, while others are more constrained. Even partial double tracking will allow trains to pass one another more efficiently. On the Las Vegas side, extending the Las Vegas monorail to the BrightLine station will make reaching the Strip faster and more convenient. In the end, BrightLine West isn't just about high-speed rail in the US. It's a story that any city trying to build fast trains can learn from. On paper, it promises a 2-hour ride between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. But in reality, stations outside downtown, single-track sections, and limited frequency show just how tricky it is to make high-speed rail both fast and convenient. Still, the project shows what's possible. Long-term plans like the High Desert Corridor could finally get trains into LA's Union Station, and improvements like more frequent service and double tracks could make the line run more smoother. For now, it's a reminder that high-speed rail only works if it's fast, convenient, and actually gets people where they need to go. Hey, this is Scott from Urban Man. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or leaving a super thanks. It really helps this channel. If you want to dive deeper into transit and urban planning, I left some of my favorite books in this topic in the description below. Feel free to check them out. Thanks again for your support. Peace. Getting high-speed rail into downtown is tough, but Las Vegas tried a different idea. Elon Musk's Loop. Cities around the world are looking at it. But spoiler, it won't actually fix traffic like promised.